family and friends, good morning. I'm Rabbi Eddie Sukhal from the Shul. We gather this morning for our service to pay tribute to Sandy's life and to honor her memory. We begin with these traditional words of consolation from the 23rd Psalm. Adonai ro'i lo echsar bino deshe yarbitseni al mei menuchot yenahaleni nafshi yeshovev. Yancheni v'magalei tzedek lema'an shemo gam ki elech begeit salmavet lo irara ki ata imadi shiftecha umishantecha hema yanachamuni. Ta'aroch lefanai shulchan neged zorerai. Dishanta v'shemen roshi kosi rivaya ach tov v'chesed yirdefuni kol yemei chayai. V'shafti b'veit Adonai le'orech yamin. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. When we face the death of someone we love, it naturally leads us to ask the eternal and existential questions about the meaning of our lives and the purpose of our life, the passage of time. The author of Psalms asked those questions this way. O God, what are we that you have regard for us? What are we that you are mindful of us? It seems that we are little more than a breath. Our days are a passing shadow. We come and go like grass. In the morning it shoots up renewed, and in the evening it fades and withers. You cause us to turn to dust, O God. You say to us, return, O you mortal creatures. If only we were wise and understood where we are going. But this we do know. Mark the wholehearted and behold the upright. They shall know true peace. To all of you, Sandy's family, Rich and Steve and Bob and Pia, and all of your spouses and significant others, and if I have the count right, to 11 grandchildren and some of their spouses, some of them married with spouses, and to 2 great-grandchildren. To all of you, we gather with you today to remember your mom and your grandma. But we gather not only to remember her and to honor her, but we gather also to comfort you, to reach out to you, to envelop you with our love and our caring. And we hope that the presence of family and loving friends will bring comfort and consolation to you at this sad time. And we gather with you not only that we might comfort you, but to call upon God on your behalf so that you might also feel God's embrace and God's love, and that this too might be comforting. We know that you grieve in a darkened world today. And we understand that in your silence there is sadness, and in your tears there is lamentation and loneliness. These are days of grief and mourning. And yet somehow, even in the midst of our grief, we reach deep into our souls to find the ability, to find the strength to be grateful for the gift of Sandy's life and to offer our gratitude for her life that was so well lived and so richly lived. Sandy had a very open and accepting heart. All of you know that. And it was a heart also that was filled with love. Love for all of you and for so many people. And her love doesn't end with her death. It stays with all of you. It lives on in all of you, in your hearts, in your souls. And we are grateful for this, for the companionship and the love that we shared with her along life's path. And we are grateful for the gifts of her heart and her mind and all those things that she did that brought joy and happiness and goodness into your family and to our community. All of these are now a precious remembrance, and we give our thanks to God. To share memories and thoughts, I'd like to call upon Gina and Tricia at this time.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Gina, Sandy's daughter-in-law, and I'm going to call on her to hopefully give me the strength to get through this, because I don't really do this, but I really felt strongly that I needed to say something, and I wanted to thank you for coming and paying your respects to her. She was a great woman taken from us too soon, and I wanted to share with you a little bit about her so you know how she impacted our lives. For the past 46 years, she worked as a nurse at University Hospital's main campus. She and I had our professions in common, and we always enjoyed sharing nursing stories and comparing hospital policies, since I worked at the rival hospital down the street. She was intelligent, wise, and very compassionate towards her patients, families, and coworkers. She was highly respected by her peers and was honored with awards at UH for her knowledge and leadership. She came into our family about 28 years ago and pretty instantly became a mother and a grandmother to all of us. She united us as a family. She was the glue that kept all of us together, and I think my family would agree with that. She continued holiday traditions for us after Grandma Evelyn passed away. In fact, she did them way over the top after Grandma Evelyn passed away. She ended up with 8 children, 11 grandchildren, and even becoming a great-grandmother in the 28 years that she was in our family. She loved nothing more than to spend time with her children and her grandchildren. Of course, Al was the love of her life. His passing was only a little more than a year ago, which is hard for us to believe. I think we would have never thought that she wouldn't be here today. But his passing left a huge hole in her heart, and I think one bigger than any of us truly realized. But she was such a strong woman, and she always wanted us to believe that she was doing just fine. I'm proud to say that I had a great relationship with my mother-in-law, and she filled a much-needed void in Rich's life as well. I'm grateful to my parents and my siblings for always including her and Al in our holidays and our birthdays and our Sunday dinners, and for loving her because she loved all of you guys so much. Rich and I had the pleasure of taking her to Florida with us for a week in May, and she had the best time swimming in the pool, going shopping, visiting Uncle Harvey, and going out to dinner. She and I had shopped together quite a bit at times, and after Al passed away, Rich took Al's place as her financial manager. She would always worry and tell me that she was worried that Rich would be mad if she charged too much on her credit cards. Of course, me being me, I just laughed and said, "Don't you worry about him, I'll take care of him." And she would just chuckle and say, "Right, Gina, right." Another fun memory that we had of her, we took her to Niagara Falls for a little bachelorette party for Nicole's wedding. And while us girls were playing a few party games, we found out a lot about Mom. She was so fun, and she even had a little wild streak in her younger days. So let's just say what happens in Niagara stays in Niagara. She loved her grandchildren unconditionally, and they felt the same about her. I know my children will always remember her for the picnics on our family room floor when they were just little kids, and for the ice cream cakes with their pictures on it every year. In fact, on Tuesday morning, I had talked to her about that ice cream cake that she was planning for Nicole and Richie's birthday. We will remember her for all of the Hanukkahs and Passovers that we spent with her and Dad. My sister-in-laws and I will remember her for being the best mother-in-law we could ask for. She was just easy to get along with and always so loving and supportive. My husband and I will remember her for being the best mom and grandma and for being the best wife to Al in sickness and in health. We love you, Mom. Rest in peace. You are reunited with Dad. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. Shortly after my parents and older brother immigrated here 22 years ago, they met Grandma. Living across the hallway from them in their apartment complex, she quickly took my parents in as her own children, giving them the mother figure they needed while navigating their new life in America. She taught them everything, from how to run a dishwasher and washing machine to the definitions of all the English swear words. She was everything to my parents, especially to my mom. Grandma never let my parents feel like they were alone in this country, and the warmth, acceptance, and love she had for my family was unparalleled. She was there at every single memorable event that we had, big or small, whether it was as small as one of my annual dance recitals or as big of a moment as my brother's white coat ceremony. Grandma came to our cultural functions and showed the same dedication and love that she had for us to our heritage and faith as well. She seamlessly blended with our community and the family who visited us from India and accepted everyone with an open heart and mind. She gave us unconditional love and was a fierce advocate for us. She taught us to live passionately and to be sensitive. She was a constant force of love and kindness in my family's lives. Our relationship with Grandma is a true testament to the idea that family is more than blood. Though we were not directly related to her, she was the single most important person in our lives and ended up being closer to us than the rest of our extended family. She lived graciously and independently and accepted the four of us into her heart and life. We are truly lost without her. We are so grateful for the time that we had with her and will spend all of our lives cherishing her life and memory. We love you, Grandma. Thank you.
Thank you both. Tradition teaches that words that come from the heart enter directly into the heart. For all who knew her, and most especially for you, her family, Sandy's death caught everyone by surprise. It was unexpected. And the death of a loved one is always difficult. Each death difficult in its own way. But when death comes unexpectedly and without warning, and with no time to prepare or anticipate, it leaves us in a certain kind of shock. And so it will take time for the reality of her death to sink in. Give yourselves the time and the space that you need to mourn. And to come to accept your new reality. The author of the book of Ecclesiastes, a very beautiful and important biblical book. Ecclesiastes, the author asks this question, makes this statement when he wrote, "The eye never has its fill of seeing." And that's a reality for all of us. And it was a reality for Sandy, especially when death comes unexpectedly. That no matter how many years we're granted on this earth, whether it be many or few, that no matter what, young or old, when we leave this life, we have never seen enough of this world. We never have completed all of our tasks. And no matter how much we have loved our loved ones, we have never loved them quite enough. And for all of you, that remains true. You didn't get quite enough of Sandy. There will be moments when you will yearn for her. When your deepest desire will be to have her by your side and close to you. When you'll want to speak with her, you'll pick up the phone. You'll want to call her. And when you gather as a family, you will miss her because you want her with you for another joyous occasion, another precious moment together. In those moments, may you feel God's presence, and may it comfort you. May it help heal your broken hearts. We know that whenever parting comes, it comes too soon. Pia, you spoke about how Sandy took you and your family in, and your daughter Tricia has expressed it better than I can. She's lived it. But yesterday or the other day when we met, you said at one point, I don't remember what the occasion was, why it was, but Sandy looked at you and said, "Pia, I am your mom." What a remarkable person. To open up not only the doorway of her apartment to meet her neighbors, but to open up her heart and to take them in as family. And Gina, you spoke about her love for Al and how dedicated she was to him throughout their lives together. How she blended and melded right into your family, became a part of it. Let's not forget, though, that she was no shrinking violet. It was she who asked Alan out. That's the way she was. And I don't remember which of you said it, but there were two sentences I wrote down just like you said it because they were so beautiful, and I don't hear them very often when I meet with families in preparation for a funeral. But you said of Sandy, I can't imagine what Al's life would have been like without her. What a tribute. And you followed that up with, she made his life worth living. They fulfilled each other. Rabbinic tradition describes a spouse in Hebrew with the phrase, an ezer kenegdo. It's a curious phrase in Hebrew. Ezer comes from the Hebrew word to help. So an ezer is kind of a helpmate. It's not an assistant. It's an equal partner, but a helpmate. And kenegdo, neged means against. It's a helpmate who pushes up against you. You see, that's the greatest kind of help a person can be. They can support you when times are good, and they can enjoy those times. But when there are challenges, they push a little bit. They encourage. They might even nudge. But they challenge you because it brings out the best in a person. And she was and he was to each other their ezer kenegdo, their constant helpmates. She did not have an easy childhood, and she turned that adversity into love and caring and compassion in her personal life and in her professional life. She worked in psychiatric nursing for 46 years. And I know there are women and men that she worked with that are here today. And they know that there's a lot of different areas you can pick in nursing, but that's not an easy one. And there are people who don't last 46 days in that field. 46 years where she gave of herself. Not just as a nurse, but she gave of herself as a person. And she shared her heart and her soul with those she cared for and with those she worked with. She was a problem solver. And you, her family, and no doubt those who worked with her, there were many times when there was a difficult problem, you went to her for her counsel and advice, and she had a way of seeing things in a new perspective, looking at it a way that maybe it hasn't been looked at before, and let's figure this out. And she was respected by her colleagues for that, and she was revered by her family for that ability. On a more simple level, she'll be remembered for her pride in being Jewish, in keeping the faith alive. She kept it alive in a number of ways, but most assuredly, she kept it alive through cooking. And no beef brisket will ever be quite the same. You'll have to live with that. But it wasn't just some of the traditional Jewish foods she loved. As Tricia mentioned, she loved Indian culture and she loved Indian food. There were special dishes she would ask Pia to make. Judaism stresses that we should live our lives in the years we are granted. No one can be certain about what is next, but we do know that how we live our lives matters, and that our family and our community, our world, the cosmos is different because we are in it. And so the emphasis is on living life and how we do that. And the rabbis say that when we die, we take nothing with us from this world. Nothing material accompanies us. And it doesn't really survive us because material goods in the face of death are meaningless. And what they say matters is that some people, in the way they live and the way they love, they earn for themselves the Keter Shem Tov, the crown of a good name. Sandy earned that crown many, many times over. And that crown of a good name, that's what survives her. That's what's in each of you that you carry with you. And every time you help a person in need, you wear her crown and carry it into the future. And every time you help solve a problem, you perform a gentle, loving act, or you speak just the right word to someone at just the right moment, you wear her crown, you honor her memory, and you pay tribute to her life. Zecher tzadeket livracha, the memory of a good and a righteous woman is forever a blessing to all who knew her and to all who loved her. Amen. Please rise. El Malei Rachamim Shochein Bamromi Hamtzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Hashchina Im Kedoshim Utehorim Kizohar Harakia Mazhirim Et Nishmata Shehalcha Le'olama Began Eden Tehei Menuchata Ana Bal Harachamim Hastireha Beseter Kanafecha Le'olamim Vayitzror bitzror hachayim et nishmata Adonai hu nachalata v'tanuach b'shalom al mishkava v'nomar Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Sandy J. Wallack, for she has now entered eternity. O God of mercy, we pray, may Sandy find refuge in your eternal presence, and may her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance, and we all say, Amen. Please be seated. Our service will continue with the burial service at Mount Olive Cemetery. And the family will observe Shiva today from 2 to 6 p.m. The family will receive friends at St. John Vianney Reception Center, 7575 Bellflower Road, Mentor, Ohio. There will be a brief gap in time between when we finish at the cemetery and when the family will begin to receive friends at St. John Vianney's. So please arrive at 2 p.m., but not particularly earlier. I also want to mention that for those who may wish to honor Sandy's memory with a charitable contribution, the family suggests that you direct your generosity to the University Hospital's Nursing Department, care of University Hospitals of Cleveland.